You'll know when you have a wild woman. She'll practice her craft without boundaries. She is truly autonomous. Her loyalty is only to the family she serves, a midwife who will not allow herself to be held back by a system she didn't create.
This podcast is for the birth keepers who want to grow and change. We are open to learning through self-reflection and supportive community. We are creating this space to explore without judgment. We are remembering we were
Born wild. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Born Wild podcast. We're your hosts, Sophia
and Leah.
And Emma is driving to a birth center. We'll let her tell more about that the next time she's on. And Clover is in the middle of a presentation about vacuum extraction. And Nina is in Cuba.
So it's you and me.
And Chelsea, I don't know where Chelsea is, but we kind of threw this together at the last minute. So she's forgiven. Yeah, so if you hear a little chitter chatter in the back, that's my daughter Gracie. She's having a little coloring time down here in the office with me. It looks like, are you making earrings, Leah?
I might be.
I might be.
When I asked everybody their favorite color on the Breech workshop thread.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
I have a sickening amount of beads, so I'm like, okay, I gotta. That's not the only reason, but yeah. I thought that would be a nice. People like the rainbow ones that I had on, so
yeah,
I figured I'd start in. But yeah, speaking of the Breech workshop, should we do like a separate little check-in or just jump in? It's kind of it's like a short little rant today, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that probably is our check-in, unless there's anything else you can think of that you want to check in about. That would be my check-in.
that would be the check-in. Yes, a very exciting workshop. Why don't you introduce it since it was your baby?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how I even knew about it. I can't remember, but yeah, so we learned that Dr. Stu from Birthing Instincts was going to be relatively close in Reading, which is like 4 hours away, 3.5, 4 hours away from us.
Fixing my truck.
Except it's truck. It could take a couple days.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, go on.
So yeah, it was many months ago where I learned about it and I was like, hey, we should do this. This would be really fun. So Leah and I decided to do it, and Clover and Chelsea and Emma came with us, and we stayed in a Airbnb with a few other midwives and student midwives. And how many of this? There were like 7 total, I think.
In the Airbnb? I think so. Maybe. Was there 8? Something like that.
I think there were going to be a couple more who couldn't come at the last minute, but
right.
It was really fun. We did the ride up was kind of silly because there were a few of us on call, so we could have all fit in one car, and we took 3. Nobody went into labor. It was awesome. Everyone was able to stay, but it's only because we brought all those cars that happened, or else everyone would have had their baby.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was a little silly to all like caravan up together where there's like one person in one car. And Leah and I drove together because we've been talking more and more about a group practice, which we will do like a whole episode on that. Yeah, so we literally spent 3.5, 4 hours talking about that. It was great. And then I got to the Airbnb and went out for some dinner, had some amazing cheesecake.
Mm-hmm. I love the waitress giving us the specials, and it was like deep fried this inside a deep fried that, dipped in this sauce, which is also deep fried. It was amazing. All of our eyes were glazed over. We're like, yes.
We're like, we shouldn't, but we'll just share it.
We're not in the Bay Area anymore.
Yeah, and then in the morning we went to the workshop, and there were a bunch of other women there. Would you say there was like 25 or so?
Yeah, between 20 and 25, something like
Yeah.
that.
It was at what's the name of the birth center? Is it just Reading Midwifery Center? Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yeah, it was like
Something like
Reading
that.
Midwives group or something like that.
Yeah, and we did a lecture on normal breech birth, emergency breech birth. We did a lesson kind of in the history of breech delivery, and when it switched over to just being cesarean and things like that. And lots of slideshows, lots of videos of breech births where we can watch like the cardinal movements of a breech vaginal delivery and what it means when a baby gets hung up in a certain position. And he was saying that unlike a head down baby, where most times, if a woman just moves her body, the baby will dislodge and come. But that when a baby doesn't go to the next cardinal movement, it's a sign of X, and the baby usually needs help out. And was that your understanding, Leah? That because I know some women were like, well, couldn't you just move the mom? And in his opinion, that doesn't resolve it.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that stuck out to me is there's this idea that I've been kind of told or experienced in the communities that breech is just so complicated. That's why we don't do it. Like there's just so many potential risks and so many complications and all this stuff. And what I found actually was that there's a real simplicity in it. With a vertex head down baby, like there's the cardinal movements of that. There's so many more, and there's so many places actually where a baby can get held up. Hi, Gracie. Just descending through different parts of the pelvis and the mid pelvis, and could get stuck on ischial spines and like just all these different things. Whereas with the breech baby, that's like, this is the possible thing and this is how you can resolve it. But the question
were there any like myths that got resolved for you? Because mine were always like, you have to like check her dilation, because if she's not fully dilated, the head will get trapped. And my other one was, if a baby comes posterior, like that head's not coming out and that baby's gonna die. Those were like the two things in my head.
You mean like if the presentation is posterior?
Yeah. Like
I think the biggest thing for me,
the head in and the body is posterior, that means that the head's gonna be entrapped.
Stuck. Yeah, there was a couple things. I mean, I think the biggest one was just the idea of intervening, like when there is one of the few things that can go wrong, quote unquote, that like actually it can be very hands-on. Like there are really specific maneuvers, and once you start them, you just follow through, which I thought was great. Like that stayed with me for sure. But the whole hands off the breech thing is very true until the point where it's really clear you need to do something.
Yeah.
And it's not a panic. It's not like, oh no, this is horrible now and it's this crash emergency. It's like, this should proceed like this. If it doesn't, do this.
Yeah.
Until the baby comes out.
Yeah, I love
and so
simple.
Yeah, I feel like there was this sense of not knowing exactly when the hands off the breech thing ends, and I feel now like I have a really clear understanding of when that point is.
Yeah. Maybe I can talk through, because I have the sheet here. I could talk through the 10 steps of physiological breech.
That would be.
No one can see pictures, but it's listed by what's normal, what would a deviation of it be, and the possible cause. And then on the back are the solutions. So first one would be that baby rumps sacrum transverse. The deviation of that would be not sacrum transverse when rumping. And there's no list of possible cause for that. It's just to note it. The next step would be that baby turns SA as hips and torso emerge. The deviation would be that the baby remains ST, that there's a partial rotation to SO, that the baby turns SP, turns SA without descent or with a, and then, yes, I see that. Then the possible causes would be like nuchal arms, leg, knee, arm obstruction, the head is extended in the outlet, arm, shoulder obstruction. And then the third step would be legs release spontaneously. Deviation would be legs do not release. And that would be like an obstruction, like non-frank, or the head is extended in the outlet. Step 4 would be chest crease, looking for cleavage. And that means arms are not trapped. That was a really good note he made, that if you see the cleavage, if you see the chest crease, 100% of the time, the arms are not trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And that if there is no chest crease, or the chest is pulled tight on like one or both sides, that means that you've got a nuchal arm. Step 4 would be tummy crunches. It flexes the head and it brings the arms down. So the baby like scrunching up their legs. No tummy crunches would mean poor fetal condition. So the baby's not participating, no tone. Step 6, arms release spontaneously. Arm lifts and it helps flex the head even more. If they don't release spontaneously, again, poor fetal condition, soft tissue dystocia potentially. Step 7 would be a full perineum, would mean that the head is flexed. If the perineum appears hollow or deflated, it's a deflexed head. Step 8, head releases spontaneously. If it doesn't, it's usually a soft tissue dystocia. Step 9 and 10, baby passed to mother. Cord is intact, including during resuscitation. Those are steps 9 and 10. And if baby needs to be separated from the mother or cut and clamped, that's it. It says possible cause is provider. You're the issue. Yeah, I love that. So baby rumps sacrum transverse. Baby turns SA as hips and torso emerge. Legs release spontaneously. Chest crease, cleavage, means arms not trapped. Tummy crunches are a flexed head, brings the arms down. Arms release spontaneously. Arms lift and help flex the head, which would be like the second crunch. And then a full perineum means flexed head. Head releases spontaneously, and then baby to mama, keep the cord intact. And then there was this like vaginal breech decision tree. Is there a deviation? Yes or no? And then it kind of flows. And he was like, I'm not a big fan of decision trees, but here it is. So obviously, if there's not a deviation, then do nothing. Sit on your hands if you must. Carefully observe, kind of thing. Encourage mother, all that. But if there's a deviation, what's causing the deviation? Is it the legs, the arms, the head, the maternal soft tissues? Is the deviation interfering with the birth or not? And do I need to intervene? Considering fetal condition, like color, tone, fetal heart rates, which he said usually by the time like the baby's rumping and legs are out, we're not really listening to heart tones. He says you just, because you see so much of the baby versus like a head down baby, the baby just tells you exactly what their heart's doing. Consider the time elapsed and the risk of intervention versus the risk of doing nothing. And then maneuvers. Leah, did you want to kind of talk about maneuvers? We practiced on 2 different models.
Yeah, well, the other thing too that this is something I do when I'm learning a new skill, is that I kind of make up my own names for things so that I can remember them.
I can't wait to hear it.
Some of them I did. And I don't have the paper in front of me, so I'm not going to be able to
some of the
say
names
the correct
are
ones.
Silly and probably named after men.
Oh, yeah. I think all of them are. But I can try to think of some of them. But I mean, essentially, there's there's different maneuvers for the position of the mama based on whether she's, on all fours. Essentially, like when you're behind a woman, it could be that she's on, I don't know, leaning down, leaning over something, standing. Yeah, I guess on all fours would kind of be the typical position for that. Yeah, and then lithotomy, which is laying on the back.
If she's on a birth stool, are you in front of her or behind her would determine what movements you would do.
Right, exactly. So, and again, looking for the signs of what's progressing normally. But if the legs aren't coming down, and baby's rumped and moving down, but the legs aren't coming. And this was something too, where he was saying, if you feel like you need to expedite the birth, even if at that point, you wouldn't be able to see what position baby's coming in, like whether or not the baby sort of restituted, quote unquote, to SA. But if baby's heart tones have been funky and you're just like, okay, I want this baby out, the perfusion is bad, et cetera, et cetera. There's the Pinard, which I just think of Pinard horn, so that's not super hard. But which, is essentially using your hand and fingers to hook into the baby's hip crease and then bend as much as you can at the knee, but pull the leg down, which releases the leg, right? And you can do that for one or both of the legs. And he said once baby is out to the belly button, was it 3 to 6 minutes before baby should be born? 3 to 5. And if baby doesn't turn to SA from, ST, doing the love something maneuver? Love set. So what I call that maneuver is the twist and shout. And how it helped me remember was because when we were practicing with the models, you don't want to pull. And I feel like there is this tendency to just want to pull when a baby's not coming out, and even if you don't do it and the voice in your head says, don't do it, it's still like this, I think this jerk reflex for people. So when I would start to do that, and I was twisting at the same time, but it was like this reminder not to pull, just to lift and then rotate side to side. So I just think of twisting and then shouting as the baby crying, which is, we want to make babies cry, but it's, when you have a breech baby and they come out and they're crying, it's lovely. So that's the twist and shout. And then you do that till you can see a shoulder blade on either arm.
And it was 180 rotations.
Exactly, right. Because you're wanting, like if a woman's on all fours, you're looking at baby's belly. Tum to bum. That was also really good.
Yeah, tum to bum.
Tum to bum. And I had never heard that, which is crazy, but it's just such a really great way to explain position.
Yeah, and it was tricky with the models who were incredibly realistic. Yeah. There was a group of midwives there from Texas who can do breech legally. And so they, besides him, had the most experience. And we had asked her, how realistic is this? How comparable is it? And she said, it's pretty realistic. If anything, it's easier in real life. This would be more comparable to like a primate, because the models were so taut. The tum to bum, because these models don't have legs and they're just like, half a torso. So you would be at one model and be like, oh wait, where's the bum? Like what direction are we?
Yeah, exactly. And the all fours model was like under that table thing. So it was, but it was just, I mean, for me, even as a midwife, been practicing for however long I have, it was like, oh, that's such an easy way. It's also to explain to clients, when they ask like, oh, what does it mean my baby's posterior? And you can just say, well, you want tum to bum, and this is whatever. Anyway, I really appreciated his teaching style. But yeah, so you're twisting, rotating 180 degrees when you can see part of the shoulder blade, going up in and then reducing the hand and just from behind the head.
People know when we say 180, it's from transverse to transverse. It's not from anterior to posterior. It's from one transverse to the other, ideally staying tum to bum. And I actually would get confused on some of the models and like be trying to, I'm like, why is it so hard to rotate the baby right now? And he'd come over and he'd be like, oh, you're going the wrong one. You're not going tum to bum. So it's actually trickier to do it the other way, you know, to do it the quote unquote wrong way.
And I appreciated, you know, the idea, like how much easier it was too, if baby was coming out, I guess, SP, that you can rotate them to SA. Whereas with a vertex baby, it's so, you know, if your baby's posterior, like there's just so much work that needs to go into disengaging the head and different positions to try to get baby to rotate. So again, it was like, oh, with breech, there's actually so much more room to correct and to get baby back into those cardinal movements and those positions.
Yeah, because that was one of the myths that he debunked. That was a big one for me, is that I thought the idea that if a baby, once they drop down, is posterior, that you're just kind of screwed, you know? And yeah, and it's so scary because like when they come out, they are transverse. And so you have this like, well, where are they going to go? But where are they going to go? You know, but now, you know, it's not a huge deal if they do go posterior because you can turn them if you need.
Yeah. Yeah. And reducing station, what do you say? It's like with a breech, you have a handle.
Yeah.
Like trying to rotate a posterior vertex baby, like you don't have anything to grab onto and rotate. So that was really
we
cool.
all left there going like, oh, head down babies are so scary.
Right? I know, that's so complicated.
Yeah, you can't see how
I'm so glad we have so much practice.
You can't change their position.
Yeah, totally. Totally. It was.
I have my little
baby
baby on my lap right now. Little Gracie wanted to come out, but feet first, huh? Which that was another thing I learned, because I was always told that she was a double footling breech. And that he said that it wasn't possible with a term baby because they would have to be like physically standing on your cervix, you know, like legs completely down. He said it only can happen with a preterm baby. And I was like, oh, and he said what she probably was a complete breech, you know, with both down to her feet, just presented first. And we had a surprise, what we thought was double footling breech, which now in hindsight was a complete breech.
Yeah, that definitely took, because I've totally had other midwives. It's like, oh, it was a footling breech, and it's like the baby born at 41 weeks, and you're like, no. And now just knowing, no, you know, because that's like the big scary, like, oh, it was a footling breech, you know. That's the giant emergency, and it's like, actually, no, it's not possible.
And the other thing he said too was, the next time we're measuring babies for a newborn exam, just for funsies, is to measure their thighs and measure their hips. He said it's actually not really smaller than shoulders and head and all that, you know. He's like, they'll like fear that like that part's smaller, and so then their head will get stuck, and it's like, actually no.
Totally. Yeah, there's just pointing out common sense things that we get so caught up in stories and fear that has been, you know, told to us, that we don't actually just use critical thinking and look and be like, yeah, totally.
Well, we're not given the opportunity to use critical thinking because they just ban it altogether, you know?
Yeah.
So you were at where did
reducing the hand and arm from around the baby's head. And then once that happens and the arms are released, basically just, you know, in that position, waiting for baby's head to come. And if it doesn't, fill the perineum doing the shoulder press.
Right.
Which was like putting your thumbs against the baby's shoulders and trying not to do collarbones, right? Because you don't want to potentially fracture the collarbones or the sternum, but you're doing the shoulders, and you do a parallel, steady push, parallel to the ground, backwards until baby's head, you know, chin, mouth, nose starts to come, and then and then head. And it was just so amazing.
Yeah. And he said,
see that.
I was asking him, like, do you use the pressure of your palms? Do you use the pressure of your fingers? And he said thumbs on the shoulders, and be careful not to do the clavicles. I can't remember if you already said this.
I just said it.
Yeah, I was chatting with my daughter trying to get her to leave.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it was really Dr. Stu, right? We were all trying not to like swoon. I was like, don't propose, Leah. But yeah, just having him show you hands-on the type of pressure to do, just that steady. At one point, he like put his hand on the perineum of the model and was like, "I'm going to make this hard for you. It's a primip." I was like, oh, challenge accepted.
When I did the first model in lithotomy position, he was like, okay, I'm gonna give you like a surprise and you just deal with it. And I was like, okay. And something pops out and I'm like, oh, it's a head. And he's like laughing, he thought it was great, like tricked you. And he's like, okay, just go ahead and deliver the baby how you normally would. And I was like, because I was like, I don't. But then I know, right? Oh, of course, yes, this is what I would do. The baby was stuck. But yeah, it caught me off guard because I was like, wait, I don't deliver babies. I just say keep going. Yeah,
that was funny. I mean, theoretically, you could be planning, if it was legal wherever you are, planning a breech at home and baby flipped, and then you've got to think on your toes.
Yes.
Protects baby.
Yes. Quick, hands off.
Quick.
Wait, I see a guest appearance by Emma Ray. What is this? Hi, Emma.
What's up, ladies? Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm back in service.
Yay. We were just talking about the breech workshop.
Going through some of the cardinal movements and the maneuvers that we learned.
Yes, Emma's on her phone. She's driving to a birth center. We could do like another episode chatting about that. What's new for you? But yeah, we were just talking about our takeaways, and Leah had given a walkthrough of like a mama on hands and knees. Do you want to give a walkthrough of a mama and in lithotomy?
You're talking to Emma?
Yeah. She looks like she's moving in slow motion right now, so her service might be a little choppy. But maybe you can go ahead, Leah, and go through it.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, let's see. So baby comes, you're going to be looking at baby's back, right? Just like you would with a vertex baby, if we're wanting baby to be anterior. You're still looking for that restitution. Yeah, tum to bum. You're still looking for that restitution to SA. And if that doesn't happen, same thing, the twist and shout, looking for the shoulder blades.
Also called love set. There were also
called love set.
Two other ways to do it, and I can't remember the middle one, but it was like instead of having
like prayer hands, or
instead of having your hands on the hips, it was more like your hands on the chest. You could do the same twist and shout. And then also Betty Ann Davis uses prayer hands to turn
the Betty Davis eyes.
Yes, her hands are small and petite, but any of those would work for either hands and knees or lithotomy.
So the twist and shout, the Betty Davis eyes, or I don't know what the other one was, but so reducing the arms, so arms are out. And then the difference was guiding the head out by using your hand and fingers between baby's ankles, lifting up, and again, not pulling, but the motion of like a lever, like you're just moving in a circular motion towards mom's stomach. So just up, over, and down. And then at the same time, what is the name of that one? I call it the smelly bite, of course, because You don't want to grab baby's nose or anything, but you hook 1 or 2 fingers inside the baby's mouth. And you're using that to help, again, guide the head. So you're not pulling down on the jaw, you're not pulling down, you're just keeping baby in the flexed position while you do that lever move onto baby's stomach. And I can't remember what the name of that maneuver was.
MSV. It's Marcel Smelly. I can't remember the V.
Vite, I think.
Vite.
But what's the one that's when the actual motion of holding baby's ankles and
so there's a couple words here on our form. It says Banks/Kronk or Ritgen.
I think that's something different though.
Well, it says Marcel Smelly Vite Banks/Kronk or Ritgen.
The one that, but that's and then the action of moving baby by the ankles, that was something different. We'll have to look it up and put it in the notes, but
okay.
But that was, and because you could do it, I don't know, maybe it was the MSV one, which I just call the smelly bite, but yeah, so that, I mean, that was essentially the maneuvers, with slight variations, I think, on those with different names, but that was essentially all of it. Yeah, so just really cool and really simple. And I felt like, obviously I was, but that was clear to me what the normal movement be, and then to do if they're not, and what that looks like. So it was incredible. And then twins, doing the breech extraction too.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah,
there's Emma.
If you have a second baby who's tanking,
or even the first, right?
Yeah. Well, he said but I think it could be either, right?
Yeah, if the first baby's breech.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. And I love the information in the studies. The study that they used to determine that all breech should be born by cesarean, and just how faulty it was. That was really interesting. And this idea of deferred risk.
Yeah.
Like the question, not asking women the question, like, do you have more children?
Right.
I don't know about you, but I can't think of any clients who have ended up deciding to do an elective C-section for a breech being asked that. And just, the idea of like, we've decided this is safer for this baby, and we're not going to tell you about, and we're going to discount the fact that it means in the future, there's these risks to you, to the next baby, to the potential to even have another child, all that stuff. So just really good. I don't know, Emma, are you able to connect? And I would love to hear like what something that surprised you, or what maybe was some of the big takeaways you got from the workshop. Also, when we played Never Have I Ever, that was definitely
a highlight.
I also learned lots of things about both of you, but that's a different podcast.
Can you hear me?
We should do like after hours Born Wild podcast where we get really into the good stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen.
Yes, we can hear you. I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
Except for we're all pretty bad oversharers, so that might get us into trouble.
Yes, exactly.
I really enjoyed the workshop. I was super grateful to learn from Dr. Stu. His wealth of knowledge is pretty insane. And I'm like totally a kinesthetic learner, and so I really need that hands-on. And I was really appreciative of having the ability to practice on the Sophie doll. Okay, hold on. I need to go this way. And actually, I don't know if you are feeling this, but my hands hurt. Like, I wanted having sore hands from all the maneuvers and the tightness of getting in there.
Yeah, I thought it was because I had more fun actually being Sophie and Sophie's mom and like pushing the baby through a maneuver. And that second day, she was really sticky for some reason. It was hard to push her through. So I thought I was sore because I spent a long time like purple pushing with my hands. But good to hear you were sore too.
Yeah, I have this like really like bruising on this joint right here. It's bizarre, but yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I could have done that quite a bit. But it was cool to do that. Yeah, anytime we get to be around other midwives and learning in that environment is a good day for me. I really enjoyed spending time with you all on Airbnb, and oh my gosh, like I'm sore in my gut from my abs from laughing so hard. Holy night.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. So yeah, all good.
Cool.
Well, ladies, I have to bow out because I'm getting ready to go meet with a family. But I love you both, and I hope you guys keep talking, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hi, Leah.
Bye.
Yeah, it was an amazing, amazing workshop. I'm so glad we went.
Yes, I know. I want to figure out how we can make it a priority to attend workshops like that more regularly, because it just like kind of filled me up and gave me a new sense of inspiration to keep doing this work. I don't know, maybe that's not the right way to say it, but I just it felt really cool to be juiced up by other midwives and learning new things and just kind of,
you're like re-inspired.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I know there was a workshop conference coming up.
Now I'm headed to.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we were just both talking at the same time. I was saying there was a workshop conference in November that I have clients, so it's just not going to happen. But it's something where I guess I should like sign up, like subscribe, so I'll know about it for next year and can make it a priority.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, looking at your calendar, you have to schedule things a year out.
Yes, totally. All right. Well, I know you're busy driving and your internet's a little bit choppy, so let's say goodbye. This was
Thank you for listening, Born Wild fam. We love you.
And we promise you'll be able to hear Emma better next week. Goodbye.
Thanks everybody for listening. You can find us at Born Wild Podcast on Instagram. For inquiries or feedback, you can email us at bornwildpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me, Emma Ray, on Instagram at Emma Ray, REA.
Sophia at sophiabirth.com.
And me, Leah, at Bay Area Home Birth.
We would really appreciate it if you would rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps us reach more people. And as always,
stay wild.